The story of this world is one of struggle, of abandonment, but most of all, it is a story of power. But to tell this story in its entirety, we have to go back to the beginning. Long before settlements had appeared, before the farming village, before Fudge had started his quarry, before the city had even started to take shape, at a time when all one knew in this world was loneliness. That is how the player's story began. Alone. By themselves, confused, afraid, and yet determined, the player explored, finding ancient ruins. The player explored and found animals. The player continued to explore, and the player found caves. The player continued to explore, and at night, when the sun went down, monsters roamed the world. This player was no ordinary soul. This player was filled with the unending spirit of curiosity. The player's curiosity led them to places no ordinary player would dream of, the deepest caverns, the highest peaks, and yet, after all their adventure, still their biggest problem remained. They were alone. So, with the player's vast knowledge, they began building a place for all weary travelers to stay, a place where the fear of monsters would not be, a place where whatever you can imagine, you can create. The player began construction on the city of Frond. In droves, villagers and wandering traders flocked towards the city. When they arrived, the player welcomed them with open arms. He gave them refuge from the brain-crazed zombies lurking at every turn. With time, villagers branched out and built the farming village to the south to feed the multitudes. Some went to the southeast to begin a mining district, to unearth the riches from the world's ground. Only one word could describe life now. It was flourishing. Player saw his creation and he was happy. Happy yet unsatisfied. The occasional villager would leave to embark on a journey and never come back. The player had seen the atrocities of this world. He had studied the ancient ruins left behind from a former, and his biggest power, his hunger and thirst for the new, his lust for curiosity, became his downfall. Plagued by the visions of his slain friends, he rebuilt the ancient ruins. And without telling anybody, the player left. When the player returned, they brought newfound items and blocks, things that this player had swore to the villagers could bring their friends back from the dead. And nobody believed the player. So, the player fled. They fled to the swamps to learn from the concocting witches that reside in the murks. The player knew it to be true. This thing they had found would surely cure a zombified villager, and the player had to prove it. And prove it, this player tried. The player was banished, forgotten, and once again, alone. But yet the player still believed that they could reconcile with the villagers. The player believed that they could prove themselves the villagers once again. And for the final time, the player was curious. You see, the player had kept something secret from the villagers. An item he had discovered on his adventure through the hellish landscape of the Nether. With each anticipating game tick, the player thought of his slain friends. The player did not know what awaited themselves. But this player was no ordinary player. And so once again, the player left. But once again, the player returned, this time sure that the villagers would welcome him. The villagers were not so kind. And as the player watched his imminent demise cascading toward him, he heard the whispers of the universe in his ear. And the universe said, "I love you." And the universe said, "You have played the game well." And the universe said, "Everything you need is within you." And the universe said, "You are stronger than you know." And the universe said, "You are the daylight." And the universe said, "You are the night." And the universe said, "The darkness you fight is within you." And the universe said, "The light you seek is within you." And the universe said, "You are not alone." Centuries later, few know the player's name, and those who do refuse to share it. The villagers see new players soar overhead with the wings of the old player, yet now they do not fear, they do not anger, they cry. They are ashamed for killing the player that helped them begin their new lives, the player that wanted nothing more than to help them. The citizens of Frond try to move on.